I'm John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando on the radio. We'll watch the credits from up high and low.
Cinema Classics is produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to shows Thursdays at 8:01 p.m. on WCBE 90.5 FM. And listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John
And
DeSando.
I'm Wayne Miller.
And this is Cinema Classics.
It sure is.
And the IMDb lists the characteristics of the movie that we're about to do. M3GAN 2.0.
Yes.
Hear this. It's AI, cyber thriller, slasher horror, action horror, and sci-fi thriller.
I guess that covers a lot of the subgenres of those type of movies.
Well, you and I had a really good time with the first M3GAN.
Oh, I giggled and laughed and
Yeah.
carried on so much that a teenage assistant manager there came and warned me to shut up.
It was just like the sassy teenagers that we always like.
Yes.
Be wherever they are, we enjoy their company. And so that, while M3GAN was a bit brutal,
Yes,
she
she
wasn't
was.
kind in the original.
No, and you know, as I look at some photos of your daughters when they were around that age, she kind of looks and acts like them.
And they still look that way.
Yeah, and dancing around as they
Right.
kick
And they're
butt.
still just as sassy.
Yes, but John, I really like the first, as you know,
Yeah.
quite a bit. And you know, I always get, I psych myself up, and I shouldn't, because I set myself up for disappointment, and I did. Whereas the first one was a really interesting, small movie. You know, it was only made for a pittance, at $12 million, but it grossed about $200 million domestically. But it was a simple movie, whereas I find 2.0 bloated. You know, and I think as we left the theater, once again, we're the only two in there, I believe.
Listen, we rarely have a reaction right away, but my reaction was, what did I just see? I had no idea. I'm so glad I had your brain on this show, because I can't put the whole thing together.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny because, and I know that we'll get into it more during the podcast Double Take, but I really enjoyed some of the movie, but, you know, it's, I did a lot of research, you know, what makes a good sequel. And sometimes sequels wind up being a franchise or a series of films. So anyhow, and I know we'll talk more
Yeah, we'll talk more about
yes,
AI
because
movies.
as was stated, I think in the very first Scream movie, and one of the characters said something like, well, the sequels always suck, you know? You know, the second sequel. So
I think
got
that's
some,
mixed, yeah.
I got some that did, but I got some that were better
it's
than the
it's a mixed
original.
reaction, which to me means for how many hundreds of millions they spent on it.
Right.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah, right. You know, every time I see, and this goes back to the first movie, because I think we saw M3GAN, and then it was later that we saw the little vampire ballerina, Abigail.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see them have a dance-off, a knockdown, drag-out fight. You know? Abigail
Well,
and our little robot.
All that I can remember, because I'm a word guy, the only thing I can remember is they called her a Portuguese prostitute,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty clever.
Well,
But-
they did have some clever lines, but most of them really fell flat. And I think that's what made the first one so enjoyable, was the snarky humor and zingers and
And
one-liners.
particularly with M3GAN.
Yes.
And they have kind of put her off to the side for this new
Which
Amelia.
Yes, and played by a Ukrainian actress, and I think she did pretty good. But it's, but once again, it was just so overloaded
Yeah.
with spice type of stuff.
Yeah, they do devolve into that. They do.
Oh.
They do Jason Bourne.
Oh
Toward
God!
the end of
Well,
it.
and kind of like the latest Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
You know, AI is going to destroy the world, and here they were setting it up that Amelia would probably you know, get others of her kind, and we have a Terminator type of thing on our hands.
Yeah. So, for whatever reason, it is, as you said, it is bloated, but there are others who really like it, think it's fast-paced. Younger people might like it because of its pace, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's gonna do it because we left bewildered by it, and I can imagine people aren't.
And the thing of it is, you were talking about the pacing. I felt that it was way too long. You know, in one of the reviews I read, that it really should have ended with, and it would have been a lot better if they ended after about 80, 90 minutes, but the darn thing goes on for too long because it goes on for 2 hours like that.
Well, look, basically, Amelia has taken Megan's place in a sense. She's just, you had Megan who had blown away so many people in the last film. They just destroyed her, right? Except they didn't destroy her programming.
Yes, she was kind of like, looked like one of my old my microwave oven I just pitched at about 40 years old. That it was past its prime. But the one thing that I did enjoy, and I think I looked over at you, that Amelia's outfit, and then later that little Megan puts on the same type of thing. It looked like that metallic outfit that the woman wore in the 1927 Metropolis.
Yeah.
Black, you know, and it looked like a Batman
I
suit.
think with some circles above her head, it had been very much like that.
Yeah, but it looked like the Gap put out for teenage girls, a Batman type suit.
You know, I complain about the plot, but it makes sense. The only way they're going to stop this world conqueror, Amelia, is by creating another Megan. That's all. They got to bring back Megan no matter what.
Yeah, to bring the person down, which makes her kind of a pseudo, even though it looked like she killed the young girl that she put assumed her outfit, but that she was a bit of a hero. And John, I know we're going to talk more about sequels in the podcast.
Yeah.
What reminded me of, in a way, kind of a plot point, Terminator 2.
Well, yeah,
Where
very much so.
Schwarzenegger comes back as a robot, but a good robot, to take down the more advanced evil robot that was sent back to kill the future of mankind.
Yeah.
And so that's what kind of reminded me that, you know, you drag out, it's almost like some of those Universal movies back, the horror movies back in the 30s and 40s, where Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and in a way, Frankenstein was kind of a good guy and the Wolfman bad, but then later they meet again in another movie, and Wolfman's the good guy. Anyhow, I diverge.
And I can't even keep straight the number of spies and operatives that come in and out of this movie.
Oh, yes.
And you hinted at what I thought would have been a solution for them, is to simplify it.
Yes.
And let's see more. The reason we like the first one is Megan.
Yes. That's the saving grace of the first one. And here probably millions more money spent on it for a longer, bloated, but less successful sequel.
And that first Megan was kind of a quiet hit.
Yes.
It was all, people like us were spreading the word around. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
And it became a classic.
And also, now, two of the things the little girl, Katie, the niece of the woman, played by Allison Williams, who I remember, she was delightful, very good.
She's a teen now. Is she the one who's a teen now?
No, that's the niece.
Okay.
It's the inventor of Megan.
Okay.
From the first movie.
Okay.
And here she's again spiffed up for, the ultimate fight. But she was in a movie that we both really like, the Jordan Peele classic, Get Out.
Yes.
And she was the bad girlfriend that brings her black boyfriend home with her.
That's right.
So she turns out not to be so nice. But very gifted actress. I think she does a good job in both movies, and she's a saving grace with this one, I believe.
Well, Wayne Miller, the movie is Megan 2.0. It's a sci-fi horror film that had a little cutie that we really liked.
Yes.
It comes back in this one, but not so much as
Yes.
we would have liked. So here we are, we're past midsummer now.
Yep.
I mean, we're on the decline.
Yep.
And we're looking ahead, but we should, keep our eyes focused now. Let's not wait for October's day when we start seeing the Oscar contenders. Let's see what we have now. So what do you advise about M3GAN 2.0?
If you want kind of a mindless 2 hour, halfway decent action flick, I'd say go to it, but be forewarned. Number one, you should have seen M3GAN, the first one, but I don't know. Let me know. I know we've got friends that'll see it, and they could tell us, as they make fun of us for reviewing movies, that
Actually,
if
Keith
they
and
like
Lula loved M3GAN.
2.0.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That,
So we have to
that
be
kind of
careful.
explains it. Yes,
Right.
That explains it.
But anyway, we'd be better advised to tell you to go see Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
I think you will not be disappointed in that one.
Right. And that was actually a part 2, not so much a sequel to the one.
Right.
I'm John DeSando.
Cinema, 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 cinema. Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda